this was the notes you took in your response, so you could like use that to do the notes from where you were.
Well, you know what I have to say to that? Because no one else can. You know what? I am lazy.
Hey guys, if you can start looking at the warm-up question, please. Today, we're going to spend some time reviewing kind of these different types of solving. So hopefully this kind of gets you guys comfortable with everything again, or maybe more comfortable. So in substitution here, we're going to take what y is and substitute that in place of the y in the other equation. Making sure you guys are taking good notes. I haven't done it the last couple chapters. We'll definitely do a notes quiz this chapter, probably on Tuesday. So making sure you have all the notes from this chapter and you're taking good notes as we're going through these. So we have to distribute here. 2 times 3 is 6x. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And put these two together, so we get 7x. So then we're going to move that 4 over. We're going to subtract 4. This ends up working out nicely. So 7x equals 7. That means x has to be 1. Once I know what x is, I can substitute that back in to find our y value. So put the x back in. I like putting it back into the equation that I used to substitute to begin with. Bless you. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 gives us 5. Okay. we are going to review those other types today, just so that we kind of stay on top of that. We're probably testing, I would guess, next week Thursday for this chapter. So we have new notes today and then Monday, and then we'll review for a couple days. So test next Thursday, just kind of planning ahead. So if any of this is not going well, we should definitely be coming in to talk to me about making sure you're understanding, so to know all the different methods. So in review, we've done graphing, substitution, elimination using addition and subtraction. We're going to do elimination again today, but just a little bit tougher elimination today. So just like kind of one step more that we need to do. So we've done all these methods, and we'll talk about them to begin with. So solve by graphing. So our first one in number 1, they want us to solve by graphing. So when you see graphing, hopefully you guys think of slope-intercept form for that. So right away say, oh, then I need it in slope-intercept form in order to be able to graph that. So we have to get the y alone in both of these equations so we can graph it. Once we've done that, then we have to find their intersection. So the first equation, what are we going to do to get y alone? Oh, it's okay. Take a few.
It's just making it dark enough so they can't really
I
see
think
it.
this blue one's really good.
Is it? Okay. Thanks.
What are we going to do to get y alone in that first equation? Divide by 2. Very good. So we're going to divide all of these by 2. That means all the terms. So 10 over 2 is just 5x. And 14 over 2 is 7. So 5x plus 7. So I'm going to begin at 7. We're going to begin at 7, and then from there we would go up 5 and over 1. But since I can't go up 5 and over 1, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to go down 5, back 1. But remember slope, dude, this should be a positive slope. So I should be going uphill. So I already know my line should be looking like this. So just kind of going back to what you guys know about lines. So I'm here. Doesn't love when I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have my line going there. I might go one more time just to make sure I have all the points that show up on the graph. So, graphing my line. Once I have that, then I have to get my other line in order here. So I need to get the y alone. This time, though, rather than dividing, we're going to move that 3x away, so we're going to subtract it. So I'm going to subtract a 3x from each side. So this one, I'm going to begin at -9, which is down here. And then I need to be a downhill graph, so nice negative, I'd be going downhill here. So I'm going to reverse it. So if I go down 3 over 1, I'm off my graph. So I'm going to go up 3 and back 1, up 3 and back 1, and then we hit that graph. So our solution is where they cross, which is -2, -3. That's our solution. So this test is going to ask that you guys do all these different methods. And so graphing, if you're comfortable with that. But again, hopefully that's something that is from a few chapters ago. So hopefully we're okay at graphing. So the next two are asking us to do elimination. This is kind of just this is just a review of what we talked about 2 days ago. Which after a long day of testing might feel a lot longer ago. long day. So, even though you guys got out early, it's still, I know it had to be long taking that many tests. But, so solving by elimination here. In this case, what's going to cancel? The 5's. Yeah, the 5x's will cancel. So those will go away. So 5x and a negative 5x cancel. But now we have to combine the other two terms. So this is like a negative 1y and 4y. So it'll be 3y. And then 8 minus 17 is, I believe, negative 9, right? So elimination, we like this because we get down to one-step equations really, really quickly. So we're just going to divide by 3, and we find out our y is negative 3. Once I know what y is, I have to go back in and find x. So I'm going to take what I know for y and put that back in to find our x value. I usually, again, try to find the one that's the easier of the two equations. This one's probably a tough one because there's that negative y is kind of weird, but this one has more negatives, so I'm going to go up here, but we got to be careful on this one. It's 5x minus y, which is a negative 3, so it's a double negative. Sense. Two negatives. So move that 3 over. And then we'll divide by 5. And we find out x equals 1. Right. So that's our elimination one there. And we'll do one more with elimination that's a little bit the tougher of the two type of elimination problems. We're going to look at the next one and decide can you add or subtract. So we'll eliminate a variable. So now this one, the 3x's currently won't cancel. So in order to make them cancel, this is where we have to subtract the one from the other one. So we're going to subtract, and I typically subtract the bottom one. You could subtract the top, I guess, if you want. I think that's a little more confusing. But I want to subtract this bottom row from the top row. But remember, all of these have to distribute in. So if you're not good at visualizing that, you might want to rewrite it. If you don't need to, that's fine. I know some of you guys do a lot of work in your head. I'm okay with this if you can do it. So this one changes to be a positive. This one ends up being a negative 4. So visually, that's what happened, is the whole bottom row is being subtracted from the top row. So I like to write it out just because I know some students need to see it. And it doesn't take that long to write it, so I don't mind doing it. So that cancels. I get a negative 6y and 1y. So that's a negative 5y. And then this is negative 25. So now I can divide to get my y alone. So y ends up being 5. Once I know what y is, I'm going to substitute it back in to find my x. So I'm going to put it right back in here. So I'm going to move that 5 over. And then divide by 3. So everything we just talked about here is stuff you already knew how to do. So none of this was new, and hopefully you didn't feel like, wow, I don't remember learning this. I hope all of this was like, this is you know, this is what you guys already knew how to do. So we're gonna flip to the back side and learn a new method, or an addition to our current method. So it's technically not a newer method, it's still elimination. And we're going to just add one more step to this. Okay. So flip the page over when you guys are ready. So what's new about this is really not a whole lot. Step 2 is the only thing that's going to be a little bit different. So I'm just going to kind of be more detailed on my directions there. So if you guys recall from Wednesday, our steps of elimination, so same kind of steps as last time. We want everything lined up, if you remember. So the X's are lined up, the Y's are lined up, the equal signs are lined up. So we want everything lined up. So we want the equation lined up. So that's our first step. So that's not different than Wednesday's notes. So you probably feel like, and she just made us write this down, you know, a couple days ago. Yes, sorry, I did. So we want the equations lined up. We have that here. X's, Y's. I'm really not going to give you many that aren't lined up. So if I want you to use elimination, it's going to be lined up for you. So this second step is what's different. We may need to multiply by something to make a variable cancel. May I stop talking, please? So we may need to multiply one or both equations by something to make it cancel. How's that elimination? So if you guys look at our example, nothing would cancel the way it is. So we have a negative 4x and x, those don't cancel. 9y and a negative 3y, those don't cancel. Any ideas on what we could multiply one of these equations by to make something cancel? Anyone see anything? Go ahead, Nate, tell me what you got.
Do the bottom one times 4.
The bottom one times 4, is that what you were going to say too, Justine? What were you going to say?
I was just saying multiply the bottom times 3.
Yeah, so either one would work. So first suggestion was multiply the bottom one by 4. If this became a 4x, do you guys agree negative 4x and negative 4x and 4x would cancel? Justine said, let's multiply the bottom one by 3. Can you keep your notes on your desk? I feel like you guys are really distracted. It needs to be focused, please. Why don't you step in the hallway? I'll talk to you out there. Bring your paper, please. So you can choose to do either one. So you can either multiply the bottom one by 4 or the bottom one by 3. I'm going to use 4, so you're going to multiply this whole equation by 4. Now, Justine, if you want to do 3, or if anyone else wants to do 3, you're welcome to do that. Yep, that's fine, thank you. Okay, guys. Sorry. So, it won't matter if you guys chose to do either the 3 or the 4. So this becomes 4x, this is a negative 12y, and then this is a negative 24. Why this is good is now we can add these equations together and they'll eliminate. So that's going to be our next step. So you can add the equations together to eliminate a variable. So those will cancel. And again, Justina mentioned multiplying by 3, hers would just cancel the y's first. I don't know if you decided to do it which way or the other, but. So this ends up being a negative 3y, and then this is a negative, what is that? 15? There we go. So now we just have to solve our new equation. So we're going to divide by negative 3 here, and we're going to end up with 5. And then again, our last step is to substitute that back in to find our other variable. So we're going to put the y back in to either of the 2 equations, it doesn't matter. I'm probably going to use the bottom equation before I multiply by 3. So I'm actually going to use it this way. I'm substituting to find the other variable. So we find out x is 9. We're going to do one of the mazes today around the room. You'll be able to work with other people though, kind of get up and move around. So we could look at example 5. This one's a little bit tougher to figure out what to multiply by, because right now nothing will cancel. So I see 2 and 8, 3 and 5. It's kind of like finding a common denominator. So is there a number both 2 and 8 can become, or 3 and 5? And you probably want to only have to change one of the numbers. Anyone see it? Yeah. Yeah, so what we want, so if you're kind of having trouble seeing this so far, is we want to have those opposite signs. So if I have this as 8, I'd really love for that to be a negative 8. So I want this to be negative 8x and positive 8x. So what Justine just pointed out is if I multiply this top row by negative 4, it'll become a negative 8. But I have to multiply the whole top row by negative 4. So kind of trying to find that common denominator and decide which one looks easiest to make alike. So this is a negative 8x, it's a negative 12y, and then this is a positive 44. You can't forget to multiply all the terms by that number. this is good because the 8x's will cancel then. Be left with a negative 7y. And then 44 minus 9 is 35. Now I have to get my y alone, so I'm going to divide by negative 7. So I find out y is negative 5. And once I know that, then we're going to substitute that back in to find my other variable. I don't know which one we want to use. Maybe the top one? So I'm going to move that 15 over. And then we're going to divide by 2. So let me get these out, and then I'll get you guys your sheets here to work through these. So remember with the mazes, the idea with it is that you guys can walk around the room and solve the problems, but these are the ones where it tells you where to go to the next answer based off of the answer you found. So it'll tell you which one to go to. I believe number 10 is a little bit of a challenge problem. Maybe I should leave that one in here now that I'm thinking about that. Let me throw these two outside, because these ones are easier. And it tells you what method to use. There's a couple that suggest you use graphing. You don't have to use graphing. I would allow you to use substitution if you prefer. If you'd like to graph, I do have some graph paper. But I don't know that graphing, like I said, is anyone's first choice here. One back here and a couple over here. Zibby's got number 9. Zibby bit my finger this morning. Alright. So I'll pass these out to you guys. So again, with these mazes, I don't remember if we've done this specific kind before. You basically just put it in the first one you started with, and then it tells you how to follow through the rest of the, so you go just in the order that it tells you. So if you go from 10 to 4, you just kind of keep, so your numbers shouldn't go in order, like in numerical order. Pass that back to Jaden. And I'll get you guys going, and I'm going to get these online. Feel free to work in small groups on your own, however you guys would like. If you'd like a whiteboard, go ahead and grab one.